Hi friends, welcome to Anna with Plants. My name is Anastasia. Thank you so much for joining me for another video. As you can see here in front of me, I have a lot of hoya. I counted, and if I counted correctly, there are 28 hoya in front of me, and most of these I have not shown you before. They were chilling in my garage, and I never did a plant tour in my garage previously. They're looking a little crusty and dusty. These are probably my ugliest hoya in my collection, just because out of sight, out of mind. If this video doesn't take too long to go through all of them, I might repot some also at the end of the video, so it'll be kind of like a two-parter. I will also be treating them for mealies because I've been finding thick ass mealies popping up on vines randomly, just like one mealy by itself. I will also be spraying them down in a preventative treatment. Killing two birds with one stone. So that's what I have planned for today. I'm gonna bring you closer. I'm gonna go through each tray individually. Let's talk about some hoya. I have the first tray of hoyas right in front of me. Let's just get started. Let's just pick out. We're gonna pick out this one here. This is kind of like a two-parter. This is the Hoya meredithii round leaf, and this is one that you might have seen before, which was that Hoya haul from Unsolicited Plant Talks, and it is a much easier going meredithii than the traditional one. It still has that same beautiful pattern on the leaves, but they're just, as the name suggests, rounder. This one, however, I rotted out, so I don't know if you're going to be able to tell, but the leaves are very soft and flimsy, so the color is off. This is a top cut that I took right here, and it has since rooted for me, and this is the first leaf that it's grown. And as you can see, look at how beautiful and dark and veiny the leaves can be. Just really light splash, so a really great sheen. So this I consider like a healthy leaf. These, on the other hand, are not. So you can kind of see the difference between the two. I'm actually gonna cut this one up right now. I mean, the roots are done for at this point anyway, so while I have this hoya here, why not do it? Luckily, the stem is pretty long. So this is the first cut, second cut, third, and here's the fourth, just a one leafer. And the bottom, I'm gonna have to figure out what I want to do with the bottom here, but I'll just set this one aside for now. This is the meredithii round leaf. This is the Hoya Lisa australis. Very beautiful plant, nicely variegated. The new leaves come in like this really lovely pink color. This one is not doing so well. It has some rotty leaves here. So I did spy some mealies on it earlier. So I'm just kind of gonna take a look. I did treat it since. I sprayed it down in isopropyl alcohol. Here's another rotted leaf. I don't see any. It can grow a lot faster, but because it's been neglected, I think it's only grown maybe like 4 leaves for me since I've had it. Next one is a sad story. This is my Hoya. I, again, don't know how to say that. That is what that is called. This is a thin-leafed Hoya, and the foliage isn't really much to write home about, but the blooms are where it's at. I'll post up a picture of what the blooms look like, and if you happen to watch my spring faves video, this plant was blooming for sure, and I caught one of the blooms opening, but then the rest of the blooms, either they didn't open when I saw them. However, it's got some peduncs going, so this is one budding up right here, and then there's one right here as well, and then this is the one that just was blooming. So this is a Hoya CV Hot Lips, and it looks so sad. Just look at this long tendril. It has been growing recently, but it's been putting out these really sad looking leaves. Yeah, they don't look right. I don't think they're supposed to be that color. These two were like the propagation leaves, and it's just, yeah, it's kind of growing out of control. But the leaves on this one, I think, are super pretty. If I remember, they're just like this really hot, vibrant pink color. Oh, I haven't even been spraying down the Hoyas. What am I doing? obviously I'm not very organized for this video, but when am I ever really organized for a video? Am I right or am I right? I'm gonna be spraying down these Hoyas with Pure Crop 1. It's good for mites, spider mites, flat mites. I have no doubt that this Hoya probably has mites on it. I'm just gonna focus spraying on the new growth since that's where they like to hang out. I'm gonna just spray the ones that I just talked about. All these freaking tendrils. And then the australis. Now we're all caught up. Another unsolicited Plantox Hoya. This is, I think, a Hoya erythrina. That's what it is. This erythrina, when it gets to be sun stressed, is like the most beautiful, like purple color. You can kind of see it a little bit on the bottom leaves, although it's not very pretty. It can be much, much prettier than this. I'll post up a photo of it on the website looking much better than mine is. Did this like weird clustered growth thing. Just gonna be spraying primarily at the new leaves. This is the Hoya perak, SP Malaysia. It really kind of gives me clemenciorum vibes. There's a lot of clones of the clemenciorum. The leaves have that veination on them and the edges are very textured. If you can see that, those edges right there. This one definitely took a long time to root out before it started pushing growth, but it finally has, and we have these long tendrils here. So I think if I have time today, I really want to pot and trellis up this Hoya, since I think it's one of my favorites for sure. This is the Hoya lockii, and I really don't know if it's gonna bloom. These look kind of promising, but I just noticed today these turn kind of yellow, and they're not as developed as these guys here. They might just blast. This would be the first time this Hoya bloomed for me, which would be awesome. I think I finally acclimated to my conditions. It was being the biggest beezy for the longest time, and it dropped a lot of leaves. As you can see, this huge bare stem right here is literally all of the leaves that it's dropped for me. Thanks a lot for nothing. Here's a cutie. This is the Hoya thomsonii. This is well known for being a very cute fuzzy Hoya. It also has splashes on there. Oh, is that a mealy? It's a peduncle and a mealy. For some reason, guys, mealies really like peduncles, especially if they're blooming. So I just got some isopropyl alcohol, Q-tip. Anyway, yeah, here's a peduncle right here, and then there's another peduncle right here. Very slow grower in my care, but then again, it's been neglected, so don't trust me on this information. Spray down. These next two are two Hoyas that I actually did repot. I haven't been the worst Hoya parent. I'm not going to win any awards for sure. So this is what this Hoya is. It's a Hoya SP Malaysia, and then it's an EPC 892. I don't really know that much about Hoya nomenclature, so sorry, don't come for me. This Hoya is very interesting because of how flat and matte the leaves are. Again, beautiful deep dark green with some veination going on here. It's not raised at all. It's like super duper flat, and the leaves when they come in are like just really soft as well. It's kind of hard to describe unless you feel it for yourself. A super unique Hoya in my opinion, for sure. Finally started growing. It pushed literally all these leaves are new at the top, so that's honestly really great. I'm gonna give it a quick spritz. This Hoya is a Hoya forbesii. Let me just double check. Oh, this one's way rooted. Look at all those roots coming out the bottom. Yeah, so this is, okay, so this is an SPF forbesii. So basically that means it looks like a forbesii, but you can't really be sure of the ID. Gives really nicely long elongated leaves. Again, there's the veination, dark foliage. I kind of have a specific taste in a lot of Hoyas. It's really growing quite clustered for me too, which is not a bad thing to have the leaves down at the bottom. Just Gonna spray. Now, would you believe that? But we are done with the first tray, so we're making good time, I think. I really haven't been checking for mealies as thoroughly as I should have. This one looks good. Okay, Hoya latifolia, or the dinner plate Hoya. Only grew one leaf in my care, which is this one. It used to be a lot more sun-stressed, but this was the original propagation leaf, known for having super huge leaves. There is a baby leaf growing right there, so not all hope is lost. Gonna spray this down, but what it really loves to do is just kill off these new vines that it's given out. That's kind of been what I've been seeing a lot. This is another fairly common Hoya. It's really beautiful. This is the Hoya vitellinoides, sorry if I didn't say that right. There's a lot of different clones of this one, I believe, out there, and it might have even been renamed if this is the one that I'm thinking about. This is the newest leaf that it gave me, and it is pretty big. So this is my hand next to the leaf, known for its venation, obviously. Really pretty Hoya. I'm trying to think what the propagation leaves were. I think it was this cluster of leaves down at the bottom, and then I grew this one and then this one. And I've had this for quite a while, so it definitely should have grown more in my care. Next up, this is a pretty unique Hoya. This is an AH003. I haven't heard that Hoya being talked about too much. It does have veins, but not in the traditional way. It kind of almost gives me like the back of a turtle vibes. I don't know if anyone else also gets that too. It's pushing out a lot of new leaves. As you can see, all of these are new, so that's very exciting. It's really the same story with a lot of these Hoya, is they should have a lot more leaves on them, except they dry out, and when your Hoya dries out, when it's pushing new leaves, they will just fall off and die. Speaking of falling off and dying, this is the Hoya that is infamous for that, and probably the Hoya that is the biggest pain in my ass that I desperately want to grow, but it never wants to grow. So this is the Hoya svetlana. Small victory, the smallest victory, because I've had this for, again, over a year. This is the first leaf I've ever successfully been able to grow on this Hoya. And it is very pretty. It could look a lot better. There's a lot of edema happening on the back here because, again, inconsistent watering. But look at this leaf, you guys. They're splashing. It's got great texture. Like, the leaves are like sharp and ruffled. It has so much going for it, but it is such a diva. I've thought about tossing this one so many times, and it's given me hope, so I guess I will continue on the struggle bus with it. Speaking of struggle bus Hoyas, this is actually quite embarrassing. So this is the Hoya walliniana UT152. It's the one that gets really beautifully sun-stressed, and this is just a 2-node prop that I've had for, again, over a year. It's since grown some leaves, very small leaves, and this is a Hoya rotundiflora that I've just kind of stuck in here. Let's spray this down here, but yeah, it's very neglected. Let's just keep moving on. This is CV Ghost Fairy, another one of those Hoyas that don't really look like much, but the leaves, if I remember correctly, are very beautiful. This one is looking crusty, dusty. Look at those really crusty vines. A lot of growth has fallen off over here because it's been underwatered severely. I think I have only grown like 2 leaves in the year. Quick mealy check. We're good. Hoya Joy. I have a bigger plant of this. That thing has rotted too, unfortunately. I've seen much more splashy Hoya Joys. I'm actually quite jealous of the high splash ones. Mine does have a little bit of splash, but those other ones are beautifully splashed. These 2 leaves are the newest ones, and then here's a little baby leaf that it's working on. This is all of the aborted growth right over here. I really don't know that much about this one. This is what the hoya is. The foliage, not much to write about when I edit. I'm gonna look up what the flower looks like. I feel like this one might be, it seems like this is more of an easy care hoya because it has grown all these leaves, even though I haven't been taking care of it. I don't know if you guys have one of these in your collection. Do you like it? Is it an easy grower? It's just kind of been on the back of the shelf. Let's give it a spray. Another not very impressive one is the AH0735. I think this one's probably the newest leaf, and it looks kind of deformed. It has some veination, very muted and very smooth. The leaves I've been able to grow in my care, however, don't look super hot. Mealies! Oh, gross. That's really freaking gross. Okay. Yeah, check out those mealies. That is a little mealy nest. I don't even know what to call it. That's gross. See, I'm glad I'm doing this with you guys because I'm finally checking these hoyas more thoroughly and getting all the mealies out. Okay. I'm gonna try to get this on camera. I'm just using the viewfinder. There we go. Dead. They gone. I'm not gonna pretend to know how to say this, but this is what this hoya is named. It has really unique foliage. It's kind of like blotched in a way, but it's also veiny because, like, see, some of these look randomly blotched, like this leaf too. But then this one has a little bit more of a pattern. Yeah, very understated. Hopefully the flowers are pretty. I can see no mealies, so we're good. Okay, on to the last tray. So you guys didn't see that because the camera was off, but I knocked over the Hoya Ghost Fairy and fluval stratum was all over my floor and we had to take a quick cleaning break. So we're back. Hoya Chicken Farm. I think it's the chicken farm. I got this one as a freebie in one of my Hoya purchases. It kind of went dormant for a while and didn't do anything, and then it's since started growing leaves. So the sun-stressed ones are quite ugly in my opinion. They don't really do much for me. However, the non-sun-stressed when they first come in actually do look quite nice. And I do think the blooms for the chicken farm are also quite pretty. Go ahead and pop them up. I feel like this is another pretty common Hoya, or at least a Hoya that people have heard about before. This Hoya, on the other hand, I've never heard about before. This is a Hoya Puerto Beauty. The leaves are smooth, no veination that I can see. The edges, though, are nice and wavy. I think it's grown 4 leaves for me so far. Maybe the blooms on this one is nice. I honestly can't remember at this point. No mealies, so that's always a plus. And there's leca everywhere. Hoya Noelle. What I like about this Hoya is the black edges around the leaves. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that because the edges kind of curl inwards, but this Hoya has black edges all around the leaves, which I think is super cool. Post up a picture of the blooms. A little bit of splashing as well. Oh, maybe this one was a Hoya that was renamed Hoya verticillata. This is like an unknown open pollination cross. The open pollinated one, I don't know, the leaves are kind of boring. And I don't know what the blooms are since it was a hybrid. It has 2 vines growing, however. And no mealies, correct? I don't see any. Okay. This Hoya grew the absolute longest tendril that also, do you see like how it's like curly at the end? It's because it was wrapped around another Hoya and I had to get it disentangled. It formed an attachment. And yeah, I also broke some of the new leaves coming in. So sorry, buddy. What are you though? You're a Hoya meliflua? Meliflua? The shape of the leaves are very interesting to me. They're very long and elongated. It's also, yeah, super duper smooth. However, if you look up close, you can see that the leaves have like an indented pattern on there, which is kind of cool. But I think it's the flowers that people care about this Hoya. And this one I've seen mealies on, so don't currently see any though, which is good. Still gonna spray it down. This is one that I know I'm gonna chop up because I think the roots are done for. It's very, very floppy. This is Hoya quinquenervia. Beautifully sun-stressed, but very, very sick Hoya. I really do love the leaves when they get sun-stressed. They are very, very beautiful. But this Hoya is rotted out. I'm surprised the leaves are still hanging on. They're very soft and flimsy. I think it also had a case of like some kind of mite, because that is damage from those mites. That's what that looks like. So I'm gonna take some cuttings of it, and then I think I'll just chuck the plant. Just probably gonna take some of the nicer looking leaves. I did trellis it, and since then it hasn't even grown any leaves. So I think it's just time to call it. I'm just gonna chop here, down here. I don't know how many cuttings I want to take yet. Here's another cutting of that one. And maybe one more, kind of like this set of leaves here. And then this is the last cutting. Really cute set of leaves. I got all these cuttings that I'm gonna prop and root up, and we'll just start over again. And this is totally okay to do to plants that are obviously not doing well, covered in pests probably. And I definitely don't want to give that plant to anyone else. So with these cuttings, I'm just gonna spray them down. The Hoya I saved for last. I'm gonna move this tendril out of the way, it's really bugging me. Outer variegated Hoya compacta. Hoya compactas are known to be pretty slow growing. I think this one at one time also had some mites because some of the older leaves definitely have mite damage. Yeah, like right here, that scratching effect, mites. It's not looking the cutest that it could. It's kind of wrapping around itself here, but it's still actively growing, which is nice. It is in semi-hydro, so that could be part of it. And I literally just potted it as is in here. I didn't do anything else to it. It is very, very pretty, and I love how the new growth comes in like this pink color. Super duper cute. So I'm just gonna spray this one down, and then we'll just go over the ones that we want to repot, and we'll call it a day. Okay, so we are back. I have 5 Hoyas that I'm gonna repot real quickly. This one wasn't on my repot list, however, it fell over and it said, well, you need to repot me anyway. So let's talk about pots and substrates. So this is gonna be the cash pot situation, just a plain white planter. And then we're gonna have a clear cup with some drainage on the bottom. Fits in like that. And the substrate we're gonna be potting in is the pond tree fern mix here. I found that because these Hoyas are under T8 lights and the T8 lights are actually pretty close to them, they just dry out way too fast. I wanna be able to water these Hoyas maybe like once every week, I think is very reasonable, and I'm having to water them twice a week, and I think that is part of the reason why they just don't look so good. I really hate fluval, repotting fluval when it's wet, because it does this to your hands, but I really have no choice in the matter today. Let me just rinse this off real quick and I'll be right back. Here are the roots. Fluval really does root Hoya very well. I just hate when it turns really soupy over time. However, look at those roots. I don't think I'm gonna trellis it quite yet. I'm gonna wait until it gets a couple more leaves on it, and then I'll trellis it. Okay, the ghost fairy is all done. I knew I wanted to repot this one for sure, because I think it might just be the substrate is drying out too much. Maybe it's not as big of a diva. Oh, I just tore off a lot of roots. Whoopsie. Yeah, all the roots that were growing on the wick decided to go. Oh my god, I just hate the feeling of this so much. I should have just waited until it was dry. I think that would probably be better. Lots of roots here. I'm at the point where I'm getting really annoyed because all these freaking vines, tendrils just keep getting attached to each other, and then they keep getting knocked over, and substrate is just going everywhere. Not about it. Not about it at all. That was a really easy one. That's the Svetlana all done. This is the erythrina right here. I thought it would have more roots than that. That's kind of surprising. Oh man, I hate cocoa husks so much. You can't pull off cocoa husk without pulling off the roots. So I'm gonna do a lazy girl repot, and I'm just gonna stick it in as is because it's pretty compacted in there and I don't want to disturb the roots too much. I think this one will do. Because the roots aren't really that robust here, I'm not gonna do like a huge upsize. I don't have any clips. You guys will not even believe what just freaking happened. The plant that I was just repotting was like here, chilling just fine, and then I heard a crash and it decided to fall over and dump all of its substrate out, and so I had to repot it a second time. So that is, wow, this plant really does hate me, but okay, I'm trying to give you a new home, but here it is, trellised and repotted and very ungrateful, apparently. I think we have 2 more left. Let's do the last fluval one. So this is the Hoya that I can't really pronounce. I feel like everything in this video is like what can go wrong will go wrong, and I spent more time cleaning my floor than filming. Sometimes it just be like that. I'm not even gonna bother to rinse this out at this point. I'm just wanting to be done with this repotting. Since nothing is going right for me today, I'm not gonna push my luck. I'm just gonna do what's easy. And when it's not your day, it's not your day. You gotta call it. Oh, and I forgot to put the trellis in, of course. So I'm gonna put it on this nice clear circle trellis right here. So I'm just gonna stick it in here. I think it'll look really nice. It might look like a wreath, but when it blooms, it'll be a pretty wreath. I couldn't find the bag of clips. I'm also not like a trellis master either. I know they're supposed to go a specific way. I'm not sure if it's like clockwise or counterclockwise. That's gonna be the best we're gonna be able to do. Let's put it in this pot. Here we go. It's not too bad. And once it grows out, it'll look nice. At least it's not gonna tip over anymore. I think that's what's important. The last one on the list is the perak. And this substrate I hate a lot, actually. These tiny clay pebbles. Ooh, I don't even know if they are clay, but whatever these are, these like tiny pebbles, they just roll all over your floor. Like they go underneath everything. It's by far the most annoying thing to spill. And compared to fluval, it doesn't really root as well either. At least it cleans off better. Oh, see, there goes one. At least it cleans off better, but I don't think the roots are as good as fluval roots, in my opinion. Do you ever like have this grand idea of like what you're gonna do? You have all these plans to do all these plant chores, and then it doesn't work for you. I had high aspirations, and the reality it just wasn't there today. Like I said, I only found 1 clip upstairs, so we're gonna do the best we can. I think you're supposed to trellis counterclockwise. Gonna pin them to the top. I do know that when you're trellising Hoyas, you don't want to pin the tendrils down because the Hoya will kill that specific tendril that's pointing down. So yeah, I just have these kind of hanging wild up here, but still pointing up. Hopefully with the added support here, that'll encourage it to grow over here. But I did break one of these leaves. I forget like which baby leaf. That one's done. Okay, I'm gonna get cleaned up here and we'll meet back. I am so tired. No one tells you in the plant hobby like how much cleaning it is, just cleaning up messes, soil, substrate, spills. Well, hope you guys enjoyed watching that. Here are all of the Hoyas that I repotted right in front of me. I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.